Okay, video number 2. Today I'm doing a video again because there's some things I want you to do as you are working on today's lesson, and there's also something I need to show you because we are going to do blogs. Basically, the start of today, what I want you to do is make sure that you read through what I'm giving you in terms of comments back. Like the little notebooks, I should have written some comments back. I definitely typed up some comments about your voice recordings, which were very fun to listen to. And always kind of do that to kind of see if you need to do a dialogue back to me or if you have questions. The first activity today is we're going to read another poem. It's called Billy Collins' Introduction to Poetry. It's on the handout that I already gave you. You actually read The Eagle. This is the second poem right underneath it. What I'd like you to do is read the poem for a good 5 or 6 minutes on your own, independently. You want to annotate. We'll talk more about annotating later on, but you always want to annotate what you're reading. At the very minimum, you need to be underlining or circling important words or underlining important parts of the poem or the text. What I'd like you to do is read the poem several times, and I want you to pick it apart. Don't even look at the directions yet. I just want you to pick it apart. What are you noticing about it structurally? What are you noticing about diction, syntax? What are you noticing about the message or the meaning? What lines confuse you? What lines really stand out to you? Basically, what do you notice is what you should annotate. So I notice that this diction is very positive in terms of its choicing. I notice that his syntax is a big run-on. Make sure you do some comments like that. I have allergies, so I keep itching my face. The next thing I need you to do is then write a little reaction, which is what do you notice about the author's exigence, his audience, or purpose? Basically, why did he write this poem? Like, what is his message for you? When you get done working through the poem on your own, you're going to do a discussion, and you're going to do another voice recording. It was funny listening to your guys' voice recordings, especially that awkward silence in one of them, which I understand it's kind of an awkward thing to do, but I like the voice recordings because I'm able to hear your guys' voices and hear you guys talk through things authentically. It's not as planned out as it would be if you had to like write a response. So what I want you to do is do another voice recording where you're going to read through the poem and then you're going to talk it out. And the two big things that you should discuss when you talk it out, what did you notice and what's the message of the poem? Yeah, let me get my hands in the right way. So number one, at least one round of what do you notice? Every single one of you, what do you notice about the poem that stands out? If you were to write an essay about this poem, what would be the things that you notice that are important in the AP realm? The second thing I need you to do is what is the message? What is the author's purpose for writing this poem? I mean, I think this has a very clear purpose. I think he's trying to tell us something. What is he trying to tell you? So read the poem, talk it out, record yourselves, go. Now the next thing we need to talk about is your homework, and that's why I'm doing this, because this helps me go through the steps. Now, if you see my computer, I have very limited space in my living room right now because we're painting. But what I want you to do is get on my webpage. So you got to go to the school, the high school, my eChalk page. You guys should be able to log in and it will pop up. If you can't log in, you just go through these different portals to get to the English department and to get to AP Literature and Composition. Tonight, you will be reading Foster's Introduction, and you will be writing a blog response by midnight tonight. So what you need to do is when you get onto my webpage and you scroll down past all of this wonderful stuff, which is your homework and announcements from the summer, you will see a link and it says Class Blog. And if you have to do a blog post for homework, this is the website you need to go to and to get to the prompts. When you click on Class Blog, what's going to pop up is my blogger page, which is dedicated to AP Literature. Now if you look, you can see there's 2 posts that I've already put up for you. The first post is like why I'm doing blogs. The second post is called Foster's Introduction. That is your homework assignment. So what I need you to do is when you get onto this web page, you're going to click onto Foster's Introduction, and it's going to take you to a screen where you can post a comment. So you are posting blah 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 blah, okay? When you get done typing up your comment, as you can see my wonderful, very educated comment right here, you're going to want to publish it. Now, it won't let you publish it unless you sign in under a profile. And these are the profile choices. It's basically different logons that you already have. I think the easiest logon is your Google account. I don't know if you have a Google or a Gmail. If you don't, they're very easy to set up. If you already have one, I recommend you use it. But when you Google account it and you publish it, what's going to happen is it's going to make you sign in to your Google account, and then it's going, or your Gmail. You totally can't see that. God. You see the Gmail. You're going to sign into this, and then it will let you publish. Now, obviously, you should have a name that I can easily recognize. If you're like Surfer Girl, I don't know who the heck that would be. So, that's how you blog, and that's how you post. Yeah, there's my dog in the background. He's very cute, and he's upset because I'm not playing with him. So what I need you to do tonight is you need to read the introduction in Foster. It's very short. You need to go on to Blogger, and you need to answer the prompts that I've given you. And there's no word count. The directions are all in there. That's your homework assignment for tonight. If you have any technical issues, you need to email me. If you don't email me, I'm going to assume you didn't do it. Does that make sense? Okay, that's the homework. You guys just got done talking about this Billy Collins poem, and what I want to do is talk to you about what I think it means and hope that we're on the same page here. Now, I think this poem is a warning to people who teach literature or read literature. I think what Billy Collins is trying to say right here is that poetry can do a lot of really cool things. It's subject to a lot of interpretations. But sometimes you have people who begin beating it with a hose to find out what it really means. Sometimes people tie the poem to a chair with a rope and torture a confession out of it. There's a fine line when you're reading poetry where it goes way too far, and then the poetry like loses its glory because you want to overanalyze it. So I know I just got done talking to you the last couple days about analysis, do analysis. And this poem is kind of, it's not saying the opposite, but it's just saying beware. Beware overanalyzing a poem to the point where you are literally torturing it and beating it to death. And then it's no longer fun. So I like this poem because I think it helps us see that there is a fine line. And I think it's a poem that helps us see that there's beautiful things with poetry, and then there's overanalysis. My dog is, he hears his friend outside. So what I want you guys, hopefully you came up with the exigence or the inspiration, maybe, is Billy Collins has seen people overanalyze poetry. I think his purpose is to show us that it shouldn't be overanalyzed too much or too often. And I think his audience is for the people who are literary readers out there. So that's Billy Collins. Alright, the rest of this I'm going to go through a little bit quickly. So your next activity is to talk about The Book Thief. Now, last night you should have picked a passage that was worth analysis, and you should have written about it. You're going to turn those into me at the end of today, so I can read them. What I want you to do is seminar. Now, seminar is a fancy way of saying discussion. It's usually a circle discussion, or it's a discussion on equal levels, and everybody is participating, listening, and talking about something. Now, today we're going to talk about The Book Thief, and I want you to talk out what you thought about The Book Thief, but I want you to talk it out in an AP way. Now, some of the rules about seminar is everybody needs to be participating. There's 3 of you. It's not very difficult for you, not all to participate, because then there'd be like one person talking. You should build on each other. Don't ignore each other. So if Maeve says something, you know, Cole shouldn't go off into this direction, or Chris shouldn't go off that way. You want to build off of each other. Don't ignore each other's comments. And the most important part of it is to just really look at and consider your ideas and building up those ideas. Now, the only way seminar gets sucky is when nobody talks. And if nobody's talking, that would be a good time to bring up a new topic to talk about. So what I want you guys to do right now, in your little notebooks that I've given you is I'd like you to write down 3 questions that are worth discussing for the book thief. 3 questions you have about the book thief that you really want to propose to your other 2 group mates. Here's an example. A question I would love for us to think about is, why did Susak kill Liesel's entire family unit? And I'm not talking about her mom and her brother. I'm talking about her adopted family. And I'm talking about Rudy and like everybody on Himmel Street. Why would he choose to kill off all of these people that Liesel loves and adores and has become so attached to? Why did he end the book with so many deaths? That's my question that I'm going to propose to everybody to answer. Now, if you notice, the question starts with why. So a good thing to start with is why. Like, why this or why that? Or what do you think about Susak's book structure? What do you think he was trying to accomplish by naming this book the Shoulder Shrug? There's a lot of different ways you can go with this. The other thing that you could do is look at your paragraphs and what you wrote, and you can reference those too. But for a good 10 minutes, I think you guys need to discuss. It might go more than that. If it's not going any longer than that, we might have issues. So you need to talk about the book for a good chunk of time. And I want you to talk to each other for seminar. Now, the first step you need to do is come up with questions on your own. The next step you need to do is get out the voice recording app, and you need to record discussion. So could you please talk about the book thief and brainstorm? Go now. Okay, so the last thing for today, on that paragraph that you guys have done, what ended up happening, I'm curious to find out if you have any new insights onto the book thief that you didn't have until you did seminar. So for instance, if you guys started talking about how Liesel is a hero, you think she grows and becomes like a hero by the end of the book. This might make more sense in a couple days when you read Foster's chapter about Quest. But if you think Liesel is a hero because blank talked about her as a hero, you could add that. Basically what I want you to do is tell me, are there any new insights about the book thief that you've had based on your seminar and based on what your 2 partners just discussed. So your closing activity is to write what new insights you got from seminar, and you're going to turn that in and just write it on what you already wrote. So if you typed up your book thief response, just write it underneath there. So that's the last activity for today. When you turn that in, you'll turn in your little mini books, you'll turn in that, and then the other thing that you need to remember is you have a blog and you have an introduction to Foster that you need to read. And I am done. I'm 13 minutes in, so I got shorter, and you had the wonderful backdrop of my dog and my messed up couch. So if you have questions, always put them on a sticky note. Ta-ta, and until next time.